I'm going to try not to laugh. All right. This is funny, but it's also very sad. So, my fellow Americans, nobody is commanding the ship. Okay. The U.S. has no captain. And dare I say it, I don't think the office of presidency of the United States should be taken seriously anymore, no matter who sits on the throne after this election cycle, because Joe Biden has done a number on the office of president of these United States of America. Because Joe Biden had a press conference with the Prime Minister of India, and I believe also the Prime Minister of Australia and Japan. And live on stage, he forgets who he's supposed to bring up and yells at his team. He does it like this. Who am I supposed to bring up? Who comes next? Looking confused. Now, I don't take any joy in this, but I will be laughing at it. Now, the audio in this video is a little bit low, but there are subtitles here. So when I clip this video, I will be raising up the volume. So I will play in its full entirety. But this is funny and sad. Now, for me, this is mostly funny because I like dark humor. But for those of you watching this, you're probably going to get a little depressed because, oh my goodness, we have a president that has failed. And you have a lot of brain dead liberals who think, oh, Joe Biden was the best president ever. You don't have to believe me, folks. Watch it for yourselves. I will mute my mic and play it in its full entirety.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
I want to thank
All right, who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Here, we'll watch it again one more time. I'm sorry. This is very disturbing. It's not funny, but it kind of is. But then again, it isn't. And I'll explain more why.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Where's the teleprompter at? Where's his notes? He should at least written on his hand at least. Hey, point of order. Here's who you bring up next. Who's next? Whoa. The person who's next is the distinguished gentleman from Hardlands Media, Kit Adrian Cabela the First.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Again, a confused-looking President Joe Biden fumbled and snapped at staffers after forgetting which world leader he was supposed to introduce at a press conference event during the Quad Summit Saturday. They're not giving Joe Biden his brain pills anymore. Joe Biden now is on autopilot, okay? And that's a dangerous thing because the next video I'm going to pull up. Because on the one hand, it's funny. On the other hand, too, hey, ladies, we got a woman president. And I'll explain why. And no, it ain't Kamala. Biden, 81, was supposed to call on India's Prime Minister Modi to the stage, but appeared to be unsure which of the three visiting heads of government he was meant to name. Thank you for all being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next? Joe Biden shouted after wrapping up his remarks. Hey, everybody, buckle up. The ship's going to crash. All of you will make it. I probably won't, but at least I'll leave a beautiful corpse. The announcer then revealed that Modi, the head of the world's largest democracy, was up next, and the prime minister came up and shook hands with Joe Biden soon afterwards. Joe Biden has that look on his face of, now, did I crap my pants? And Modi's like, hey, this guy smells like Dookie. He smells like Dookie crisp. Anyways, the outgoing president has been hosting allies of the four-nation Quad Alliance at his home in Wilmington, Delaware. Why aren't you in D.C.? For a short 2-day summit as foreign leaders travel to the U.S. for the United Nations General Assembly meeting. The Quad, established to help counter the influence of China, includes the United States, Japan, India, and Australia. Good day, mates, especially to our beautiful people in the great country of Australia. By the way, he's from a small country like ours, a small population like ours, Biden then joked, while embracing Modi. He's become a good and decent man, a good friend. India has the largest population in the world with about 1.4 billion people, while the U.S. is the third most populous with 333 million Americans who are stuck in a neoliberal system of Democrat red and or Democrat blue and Republican red. Had a brain fart there. See, I'm getting secondhand Joe Mencia. Biden has unveiled global extension of his cancer moonshot initiative in his remarks and recounted the death of his son, Bo, who died of brain cancer in 2015. So there you go. The new initiative entails a partnership among the four countries and seeks to reduce cancer cells. Ah, really? Joe Biden, you never cured cancer. One has to call into question about that. I'm proud to announce that our four countries, the leaders behind me, and many organizations here are committing to over $150 million for HPV screening, and therapeutics, Biden said. Next year, doctors, nurses in the U.S. Navy will begin a program to train Indo-Pacific counterparts in conducting cervical cancer screening and vaccination so you can reach every woman in the region, and it matters, folks. Throughout his presidency, Biden has dogged by similar Fox Pass and episodes of forgetfulness or confusion during high-profile outings. Again, last year, for example, Biden bumped into a flag at the United Nations and seemingly snubbed Brazilian President, oh boy, I'm going to screw up his name. Brazilian President Silvia, there you go, by exiting the stage without shaking his hand. At 81, Biden is the oldest president in U.S. history, although former President Donald Trump, at 78, could top that if he wins the November 5th election and serves out a full second term. So who's next, folks? Who's next? I'll tell you who's next. Shout out to Hotspot. Joe Biden's first cabinet meeting in 11 months. You read that right. I will turn it over to my wife, Jill, for any comments she has. You know, all those times Joe Biden had a mental issue or where he said that he would get in trouble, I think we figured out who he'd get in trouble with. None other than his wife, Jill. Because for 11 months, Joe Biden hasn't had a cabinet meeting? 11 months? Gee, a lot's been going on these past 11 months. Who was in charge of the country? I don't want to make any accusations, but it looks like it could have been Jill the whole time. It was Agatha all along. It was Jill all along. Maybe it was Jill all along for these past 3.5 years. Let's have democracy in the chat. Am I over-exaggerating? Kit, shame on you. The office of presidency is very stressful, and Joe Biden needs all the help he can get. And Joe Biden's been doing a good job being captain, being the president of the United States. Type 1 if that's your answer. Type 2, man, dude. Ain't nobody's been running this ship. Ship's going to crash. Crash right into that iceberg. I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat.
Grateful that Jill is here today. Heard that clapping. It wasn't for me when I came in. Here across previous administration, First Ladies have attended these meetings for specific reasons. This is the first time Jill has joined us, and it goes to show how important the issue is, which she's about to speak to the both of us. Today, at the top of our meeting, Jill's going to give an update on the House initiative, White House initiative, to fundamentally change the approach and the fund, how we approach and fund women's health services. So I'd like to turn it over to Jill and for any comments she has. And it's all yours, kid.
Thank you. You know, sometimes the White
Oh, God.
House.
God, no. Nobody's running the ship. We're going to crash. We're going to crash to the shore, and it's going to be horrifying. It's going to be nightmarish. And again, these are the same vote blue, no matter who sycophants who tell you to shut up and vote for Kamala are going to say that this is just fine. For 11 months, Biden hasn't had a cabinet meeting, and yet now we have to wonder who was running it. Who was running the show? Jill Biden. But see, Jill isn't the first one. No. You got to look at Reagan's wife. And if you want to be more specific too, just go back to Woodrow Wilson when he was infirmed. That's right. His wife was kind of pushing things along too. But I will say this to Jill. If you have been running these cabinet meetings, if you kind of were in charge and were the final voice to talk to Biden, were you not paying attention to the economy? Because these last 3.5 years, and dare I say it, these last 11 months, have been really tough on the American people's wallet. So one has to wonder, just how bad is it in the White House? Because, again, if you look at people like James O'Keefe, who, managed to catch a few Biden officials with their pants down, no pun intended, about what's going on at the Biden White House, how Kamala and Biden's team aren't talking to each other, how Biden staffers are making abundantly clear that Joe Biden isn't all there mentally, and how the fact that this entire administration hid from the world, well, they didn't do a good job, but tried to skate on by, hiding from the world that Joe Biden was on decline, or dare I say it, he was already declined, but declining even further. Nobody who was serious was running the show. You had a president that has accomplished nothing. And yet, these were the same people, these past 11 months, who were saying that Joe Biden was fit to run for president. Remember the Democratic primary? Yeah, turns out that didn't exist. But we already knew that. But these were the people who were saying that Joe Biden was A-okay to run, that Joe Biden was mentally and physically fit to debate Trump. Now you know why things were terrible. There was no president. And if you thought Kamala was running the show, no. There was no vice president. Who was running the White House? A whole lot of people with their own special interests. But you want to know something? You weren't their number one concern. And so, as we reach the end of this election cycle, as Biden's legacy comes to curtain call, you'll always be remembered, Biden, looking confused, asking, who's next? Who's next? Say again, Biden. Say again, who's next?
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Who's next? Those pills and shots that you gave me, how come you don't do it anymore? Where am I? Who are these people? Who are these people? Hold on. If I'm going to be doing who are these people, shout out to Indy.
Who are these people?
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
God, right here. That's the face of a confused old man. Where am I? Who am I? What's going on? Where are all these people? Who are these people? Nobody's running the show. And that should frighten you. And I do have to wonder, really, is the President of the United States in charge? Who's really running the show? Is it really true that maybe the last real president we had was JFK, and afterwards every single president we had was nothing more than a puppet? I hate to say that answer is yes, but it's looking more likely every single day. We got to break away from this two-party system.